Obadiah, great book. It's about humility. Look at Obadiah 1:3. Obadiah only has one chapter, and the third verse of that first chapter says this: "The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who dwell in the clefts of the rock." Do you know what Obadiah is? Obadiah is about the people, the doom of Edom is what the theme is. And Edom is Esau's descendants. Do you remember what Esau had a problem with? He was immoral and proud. And he was one person. And his descendants become an entire nation. 100,000 times his immoral pride is just expanded into a nation. And so God writes a whole book about the destruction of the evil, proud descendants of Esau. And it says in verse 3, "The pride of your heart has deceived you, you who dwell in the clefts of the rock. Your habitation is on high. Who will bring you down to the ground?" And the whole book is about that, and Edom is destroying. Prophetically, God maps out their destruction because God is a God of humility. Do you remember Ahab in the Old Testament? Do you remember Ahab was a wicked man? Ahab introduced, through his wife Jezebel, the terrible fertility Canaanite pagan worship into Israel, defiled Israel. Do you remember that he walked around, it says, he humbled himself, he kind of stooped down and walked softly and put on sackcloth and ashes, and God said to his prophet Elijah, he said, "Do you see how Ahab's humbled himself?" He said, "I will not bring the destruction I've promised on him. I'm going to bring it later because he humbled himself." You want to make points with God? We need to clothe ourselves with humility. Humility is a choice, like putting on a garment. It's choosing to not accept the glory or seek it, but to reflect it back to God. Psalm 115, verse 1, "Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name be the glory." Worship our God in humility, as the Edomites in the book of Obadiah didn't do. Jonah, the next book, is our God of mercy. Look at chapter 4, verse 11. Another key verse that we should have marked in our Bibles. It's the last verse of this book, showing about God's mercy. And this is what it says: "And should I not pity Nineveh, that great city, which are more than 120,000 persons who can't discern between their right hand and their left hand, and much livestock?" You know what God says? He says, "Can't I be a God of mercy and spare Nineveh? It has all of these who don't know their right from the left." That's where we get the whole concept of accountability and children that are before the age of accountability, that God will spare them. And that's why, personally, I believe that very likely the reason there's such great infant mortality in the pagan countries of this world, the Hindu countries, the Muslim countries, the animistic countries, is because God said, "I'm going to have a multitude from every kingdom and tongue and tribe and nation, and if the adults won't come," he says, "I'll take those before they reject me." Now, the Bible never says that. That's a derived doctrine. But personally, I just think that God is so merciful, he's probably taking all the aborted and all of the abandoned and all of the starving and all of the infant mortality ones and saying of such is the kingdom of heaven and taking them unto himself.